The Social Development Department has launched the Chommy Programme in partnership with USAID. In fact, they're hoping to empower young people to make informed choices so as to reduce HIV infections, substance abuse and teenage pregnancy. Now, to tell us more, joining us is Social Development Deputy Minister Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu. Deputy Minister, a warm welcome to you and a happy Sunday. Interesting name for this program, Chommy. Talk to me about how you guys arrived at this name.
Well, I loved the name Chommy because if you look at the way we spelled Chommy for the program, it has a capital Y, which is the Y that we use on YOLO. So Chommy is meant to focus on 10 to 14-year-olds who will move then to YOLO and then to young YOLO and then YOLO. That is how we consulted also young people and wanted to understand which is a slang that cuts across all language barriers. And all the children loved the word Chommy. And that's how we came up with Chommy. But also the children voted for the colors. If you look at Chommy, every letter has a different color, meaning that there was an argument around the colors, and we then accommodated all the colors. That's how we came up with the word Chommy, because it's a universal word that whether you're a vendor, Tonga, and you use the word Chommy.
And Deputy Minister, I mean, in recent times, we know that high school pregnancy has been a big problem in South Africa, and I imagine Chommy would want to target these grade 8 to grade 10 pupils specifically. What sort of interventions will the Chommy program run to target them?
Let's start by acknowledging that actually child pregnancies in South Africa start at 9 years. And it's important for South Africans to understand that. But for us to begin to look inside of ourselves as South Africans to say what kind of a nation are we becoming. So when you say pregnancies are in high schools, actually pregnancies are in primary schools. And that is a crisis. And we look at who makes the children pregnant are people 10 years older than themselves. How do we plan and how are we going to use Chommy? Well, South Africa, firstly, we've got a program for 6 to 9-year-olds, which is Ditsala, same thing, Chommy, just in Setswana. Then we have Chommy for 10 to 14, young YOLO for 15 to 18, and then YOLO for 19 to 24. All of these programs have a thread that runs through them, and the thread is we want to fight poverty, we want to fight to get to 0 new infections of HIV. We want children to be there for each other, the body system. But we also want the positive parenting program to work. We want children to be fully informed about sex and sexuality. We want children to be able to understand wrong and right. We teach children about issues around drugs and drug abuse, but also the impact of using drugs. We teach the children about alcohol, the misuse and abuse of alcohol, the implications, and all the different related. Girls will also get a program for fetal alcohol syndrome awareness, because they need to know that if they plan to be mothers, they also need to understand that it is not okay for you to use alcohol. We also, in that package, we've got the Kimoja program that focuses specifically on everything drugs, tobacco, alcohol, hard drugs, raising an awareness. We have Families Matter, you know, the child as part of a family and their responsibilities as well as their rights, because I think a lot of parents see us talking about rights more than we talk about responsibilities. But we actually have a balance of rights and responsibilities in the programs that I spoke about. We deal with the issues around fatherlessness, because the absence of fathers makes especially our boys very, very angry. So the anger starts at a very young age. We've got a program also in that package, which is Men and Boys Championing Change. And the boys program, you feel a lot of pain because our boys are hurting. And as a result, we want to fight and end gender-based violence. But unless we invest in the boy child, that would become a dream that we will never achieve. So we also focus on that. And these are some of the things that we are saying. Information is power. And when you have informed these children, you've actually invested. And each of these programs have a tagline, like we talk about Chommy. Chommy, South Africa's children are invest in my future, protect me today. They're not asking for protection, which is the sun or the moon. They're just saying, if you invest in my future, which is what we are trying to achieve, and at the same time protect me today, that protection will enable me to be the best that I can become.
Deputy Minister, you're obviously touching on so many issues there, the family dynamic in particular. When we talk about parents, what role are you hoping they will play? The Chommy program obviously is targeting young people, but I imagine you'd want to rope in the legal guardians, the parents, the fathers, the mothers, to be a part of it as well in some way.
Yes, the program Families Matter is focused on the head of the households, whether it's ugogo, whether it's the father, mother, including child-headed households, those that are parents. Then we've got the positive parenting program, and that focuses on parents as well. Then we've got the active aging program that looks at elderly people that are parents a second time around. My grandmother raised me, and then my grandmother has to raise my child, which grows up in a totally different era. So yes, we do have programs that actually focuses on the sectors under led, and then we've got a program called Rock Leadership that is focusing on traditional leaders as well as their spouses. Because if you look at, let's take Intlawulo for an example, or Uktwala,
sure,
or child marriages, which we accommodate also in Chommy and in all the programs. It's traditional leaders where they govern that they need to make sure that this whole aspect of child marriages does not happen, because you find somebody raping the child and then ahamba yokoka enkosini, and then that becomes acceptable because induna or enkosi ivumile. Now we are saying, we are empowering and training traditional leaders to follow where you govern. It's your responsibility to ensure that child marriages doesn't happen, that gender-based violence and femicide doesn't happen, that rapes and HIV prevalence does not happen, that illegal taverns that sell alcohol to children are not, So we also have what we call the Rock Leadership Program.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, Department of Social Development Deputy Minister Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu.